Okay, so I've been having an issue with this car where something will happen and then it will go into a transmission limp mode. So it'll stay in whatever gear it's in if it's in a certain gear when it happens. And if you come to a stop, put it into park, and then put it back into drive, it'll only be in second. So that's a type of transmission limp mode. So I'm gonna connect the scanner and see what it says. All right, what I'm gonna do now is drive the front of this car up on the ramp so I can crawl under. And then the front is up there. I'm gonna crawl under and start draining out the transmission pan. All right, there's the plug to the transmission. The tab on the top is gonna turn counterclockwise, so I'm gonna turn that left down, and as that turns left down, it should pop the connector back, and then we'll take a look at the pins. Alright, so before taking the pan off, there's a 7mm bolt in there. So I'm going to unscrew the 7mm bolt in there, and then we're going to pull out on that, on the connector case there. That will slide out once we get that bolt out. I had to use these pliers because it was in there tight. That O-ring fell off, and there's still another O-ring in there that I need to get out. I'm gonna pull that O-ring off, and then I'm gonna take this pan off. These are T30s. There's 6 of them holding the pan on. The ones in the back are gonna be harder to get to. You might need a... I'm gonna get those ones off first since they're harder to get to, and I'm going to start with the T30s in the back there, and we're gonna get this pan drained, and then we're gonna have to drop this pan out of the way, and underneath the pan will be the valve body, and then we're gonna take that valve body off. We're gonna drop this pan first. Okay, I have the pan partially off here. I'm just draining it into the drain pan here. I'm gonna finish dropping it down, and then we'll continue from there. Alright, once you get the pan down, it's gonna look like this. And we're gonna pull the old filter out. Just give her a wiggle and pull. Be careful, because this will spill out fluid. And now we're gonna start taking the valve body off, which is this piece right here. Okay, all I need to do is take the T30s off of both ends. I got them all out except for one just loosened, letting it drip. I'm gonna take the last one out that's holding it in, and then this whole valve body is gonna drop. Super heavy. That's what the transmission looks like with it down. And this is what it looks like. Now we're gonna pull it out here and take a look at it. Okay. Here are the speed sensors right here. As you can see, it does look like a little bit of buildup on there. That contact is supposed to be secured to the other one. Okay, I got it wiped off. The first thing I'm gonna do is take these T30s out, and then we're gonna remove this. That way we'll be able to remove the solenoids. This is the replacement that I got. It's just an aftermarket one. Anyway, let's start taking the old one off, and then we'll wipe it up, and then we'll put the new one on. Alright, once we get those brackets off, we're just gonna wiggle these a little and pull up. You want to put them in the order that they came out. Alright, and the last one's coming out now. Alright, set them over there on the paper towel. And now we'll be able to lift this up. And pulled up on that corner. There we go. Alright, so this is the old conductor plate. I'm going to set this aside. I'm just going to wipe this a little bit and then we'll start putting the new one back. Alright, once it's cleaned up, it's ready to set the new one in place. Alright, that's lined up there, so it should click down into place now. Click down here. Alright, click down over there. Okay, so that's now clipped back into place. I'm going to wipe the solenoids clean and then I'm going to put them back where they came from. Alright, now that those are clean, I'm going to put them back in place. You want to make sure that they go in facing the same way that they came out. Alright, once all those are in, we can start putting these brackets back on to hold it. Alright, I got this assembled and ready to go in. The kit came with a new gasket for the pan and also a new transmission filter. And it also came with a new one of these. Before we slide this in, we're definitely going to want to lube these O-rings up. And then you need to make sure that you slide it in the right way or it's not going to go in. Always check to see if it plugs in this way first. Because if it ain't plugging in, if it doesn't plug in this way, then it won't plug in the other way. There we go. That's how it goes in. You only put this after this is installed in the transmission, but that's how it will go. Okay, I have this cleaned off, ready to go back in. I'm gonna lift it into place, then I'm gonna start putting the T30 bolts back in. And yeah, so lift it up into place gently and start putting in the bolts, and then I'll show you that. Okay, I got the valve body up in place now and it's torqued down. I'm gonna oil the O-ring on the filter and I'm gonna put it up in the filter housing there. You wanna make sure it goes up in all the way. And then we're gonna put the pan on top and start putting the bolts and hangers on. Okay, I got the pan cleaned up and a new gasket on there. I got the new filter in place, so now I'm gonna lift the pan up into place and we're gonna start installing. Okay, I got the pan back up in place and that's tightened. Now I got this piece. We're gonna have to slide it in a certain way for it to go through the pins. I just oiled up the O-rings there a little bit to help slide it in. And once this is slid in, then we're gonna have to tighten that 7mm bolt. And then we'll be able to plug this in. Okay, I slid it into place. Now I'm gonna tighten the 7mm bolt. Alright, after tightening in that 7mm, I was able to plug this in and just put the tab up and it pulled it in. So now it's in all the way. Now we're gonna put some transmission fluid and take it for a test drive. If we take the valve body off, you're gonna want to put about 6 quarts back in. 5.5 to 6. You really need to check it afterwards to be sure. But I'm gonna put 5.5 in. Alright, I just finished putting the fluid in, so now we're gonna start it up. And now I'm gonna switch through the gears slowly, just to get the fluid circulating. Alright, now that there's fluid in it and it's back in, I'm gonna take it for a test drive. I'm just going into the data stream for the transmission here. Alright, N3 is the speed sensor that we were having issues with before. When it did cut out, it would say like 9,999 RPM, something like that. And then it would eventually cut out, but it's only going to give us a reading in second, third, and fourth. So let's go for a drive and hopefully everything will work. Second, now we're getting a reading there, which is good. So far everything seems to be working good. It's shifting normally, and as you can see, it does have the proper reading. Alright, I'm getting back from the test drive, and so far everything has been good. It's reading the RPM when it should, and it didn't set any codes, and we're not in limp mode, so that's definitely a good sign.